Pokemon Champions is, to say the least, a divisive game. Most fans were, like me, extremely excited for this to release. A dedicated game for battling, available on both Switch and mobile, and free-to-play, it sounded like exactly what Pokemon VGC needed to be more accessible and gorgeous than ever. What we got succeeds in making it the most accessible for new players that it's ever been, but it's shockingly threadbare in terms of content and gameplay options. Because overall, I'm having a blast with Pokemon Champions in spite of the mountain of flaws and shortcomings, I want to start with what it does right. Battles are as smooth and fluid as they've ever been, and since the game is literally nothing but battles, that's the most important thing. It also gives a reason for players to use Pokemon beyond what's considered good in the metagame with its system of achievements. It gives rewards for winning 10, 50, and 100 battles, with each Pokemon supported in Champions. There are also more general trainer achievements. For example, win X number of rated battles, land X number of critical hits, use X number of extremely effective moves. For clarity, the game now calls moves that are double super effective and do 4 times damage extremely effective, and moves that are double not very effective and do 0.25 times damage or 1/4 mostly ineffective. The rewards for these achievements vary. Sometimes you get VP, the main in-game currency. Sometimes you get some of the various tickets the game uses. Sometimes you get a title, sometimes you get a badge. Any extra bit of VP definitely comes in handy though, because some of the in-game purchases are expensive. Megastones are 2,000 VP each, battle music is 5,000 VP for each track, and the price of held items and cosmetics can vary pretty wildly. None of the achievements are going to make or break your game if you choose to ignore them, but they do give you some items that can make life a little bit easier, or give you some customization options for your trainer. They also, in my opinion, get monetization right in a free-to-play game. That's going to be a white-hot take, so let me explain. Without paying a single cent, you can store up to 30 Pokemon in Champions, enough for 5 teams even if you never use a single Pokemon on more than one team, and no achievement, battle mode, or in-game currency purchase is locked behind a paywall. For $8, you can buy the starter pack, which gives you room to store 50 additional Pokemon, the trainer battle theme from Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee to play during your battles, 50 training tickets, and 30 quick tickets. This can be bought at any time, so if you've been playing for free for 6 months and then decide that 30 isn't actually enough space for all the Pokemon that you want to have on hand, you can go to the eShop and buy the starter pack whenever it starts to have enough value to you to justify $8. Then you have the Battle Pass, which is good for 1 season, roughly a month and a half, and by default, everyone gets access to the Battle Pass for free, in which you gain points by competing in ranked battles. You get 25 of the 50 rewards, one for every other level of the Battle Pass, for free. But you can choose to buy the Premium Battle Pass for $10, which gives you access to the other 25 rewards. Most of the rewards locked behind the Premium Battle Pass are Megastones and Pokemon, but you can get those Pokemon for free with some luck at the Pokemon Ranch. And my understanding is that the Megastones will be available to purchase with in-game currency, so the Premium Battle Pass is really just more of a convenience thing. Because training is so streamlined in Champions, the only thing that the Premium Battle Pass Pokemon rewards have that the recruited Pokemon for free wouldn't give you is being in a Cherish Ball, and that is 100% cosmetic. If you start the Battle Pass for free and decide to buy the Premium at, let's say, level 34, you'll be given retroactive access to the Premium rewards for levels you've already achieved. The last element is the most controversial for monetization, and that's membership. You can subscribe to their membership for either $5 a month or $50 a year. The benefits of membership are relatively minor, so this won't be worth it for any but the most super hardcore Pokemon players. An additional 1,000 storage spaces in your Pokemon box, which is frankly absurd since fewer than 200 Pokemon are currently supported. 15 additional team slots, upping your maximum number of teams from 3 to 18. Some battle music exclusive to members, and access to member missions, which really just gives you some more ways to earn extra tickets or VP. If you look at everything you have to pay real-world money to get, it's super minimal. Absolutely none of that is necessary to enjoy the game. That, in my opinion, is free-to-play done correctly. No gameplay content locked behind a paywall, and no pay-to-win microtransactions. The game has a few different in-game currencies to keep up with. The primary one is VP, or Victory Points. This is what you'll spend to buy held items, megastones, cosmetics, background music, to speed up Pokemon recruitment, and to train Pokemon. Fortunately, when you're buying held items, you only have to buy an item to unlock it in general, rather than having to buy multiple of an item. If you buy the Quick Claw, for example, you buy it once, and then you can give the Quick Claw to any Pokemon on any team, as long as you only have one Pokemon using that item, obviously. You also have Quick Coupons. Normally, you can recruit a new Pokemon at the ranch every 22 hours, but this can be sped up by spending VP or Quick Coupons. Each Quick Coupon will push that timer forward by 1 hour, so 22 Quick Coupons can let you recruit a new Pokemon immediately after recruiting one. Then you have Affinity Tickets. These will be tied to a specific type, Psychic, Fire, etc., and using one makes it more likely that one of the Pokemon you meet in the next time you recruit some will be of that type. For those who, like me, care about the aesthetics of what ball their Pokemon are in, there are guarantee tickets. Each guarantee ticket is tied to a specific ball. Great Ball, Quick Ball, Dusk Ball, etc. And using one will guarantee that all Pokemon in your next recruitment lineup will be in that kind of ball. There's also a Rare Pokeball guaranteed ticket, which guarantees that all of the Pokemon in your next lineup will be in Rare Balls, which in the fandom are usually called Apra Balls, Lure Ball, Fast Ball, Moon Ball, etc. The last recruitment-focused ticket you have are Teammate Tickets. Normally when you're at the ranch, you can recruit a Pokemon for 7 days as a trial period for free, or you can permanently recruit them for 2,500 VP. That way, you can recruit it on the trial period to test out how a Pokemon fits with your playstyle and fits in the rest of your team before you actually spend any resources. A teammate ticket allows you to skip the 2,500 VP fee to recruit a Pokemon permanently. You just trade in a teammate ticket instead. Lastly, you have the tickets that are the most important to me. Training tickets. Training your Pokemon is easier than ever before, but it's not always cheap. If you just need to redistribute some stat points, that's not too bad. It's only 5 VP per stat point. That's where it stops being truly cheap, though. Changing one of your 4 moves costs 250 VP per move, and changing an ability or nature costs 500 VP each. So if, for example, you redid all 66 of your Pokemon's distributable stat points, changed all 4 moves, changed the nature, and changed the ability, you'd be looking at 3,330 VP to train that one Pokemon. Assuming my math is right, which is as far as from a safe assumption as possible, so somebody double check my math. A training ticket, however, will let you spend 1 ticket to pay for the entirety of a Pokemon's training session. If you just change 2 stat points, you're looking at 10 VP, so that's probably not worth a training ticket. But if you change the nature, ability, and 2 moves, spending 1 training ticket could save you 1,500 VP. That definitely might be worth it. As for battles, you've got a few different options. The battles are, for the most part, broken down into 3 options: ranked, casual, and private. Private is exactly what it sounds like. You set up a room with a unique code and give that code to your friends or let them spectate. Ranked is the default mode. Wins move you up in the ranks, losses move you down, and you earn VP and points for the battle pass. Casual battles are functionally the same as ranked, except you don't have a rank to worry about hurting if you lose, and you don't earn any VP or battle pass points. Casual is mostly for practicing new strategies or with new teams, or if you just don't like the sweaty stress of ranked and don't care about the battle pass. Within each of those 3 categories, you can choose between a single battle and a double battle. Single battles will have you choose 3 of the 6 Pokemon on your team and battle one-on-one. Double battles will have you choose 4 of the 6 Pokemon on your team and battle 2-on-2. I tend to prefer double battles, but I definitely seem to do better in single battles. You also occasionally have set competitions, where you register a team in advance and partake in the competition during a set window. At launch, they had a warm-up competition that awarded a Gardevoir and some VP if you registered for the event and competed in at least 3 battles. This is where one of the huge complaints that people have, myself included, with the game comes into play. Private Battle allows for no customization of the rules. No option for 6v6 battles, no option to toggle Mega Evolution on or off, no ability to specify what Pokemon are legal for that battle. Those are, I think, pretty simple customizations for which to ask for private battles. But those battles are functionally identical to ranked and casual, with no differentiation options. That's a huge lack that just really doesn't make sense to me or to most of the early adopters of Pokemon Champions. Now, let's look at the things that not even I can sugarcoat or rationalize. The array of held items is bizarrely limited. It's not just that the items that only function to evolve a Pokemon are gone, like the upgrade or the Magmarizer, but some pretty core battle-focused items are absent. For example, there's no Toxic Orb, no Weakness Policy, no Life Orb. Those are all held items that I routinely used online in Sword and Shield and in Scarlet and Violet, and those are by no means the only omissions. While there are a lot of the Mega Stones in the game, there are also a lot that are missing, including some introduced in Legends ZA, the most recent main series game. The number of supported Pokemon is also super small, at around 180, barely more than 10% of the total roster. Only final stage evolutions or Pokemon that don't have evolution lines are included, and while in general I get the idea, I got a lot of utility out of using Scyther, Dragonair, and Rhydon holding Eviolite, and that's just not possible anymore. Now, I'll admit, I was among the melodramatic, outraged fans when Sword and Shield was the first game not to include the entire National Pokédex, but after the better part of a decade, I'm over that. I genuinely think Champions ought to be different, though. It's not an RPG adventure where you would have to program where to obtain 1,000 different Pokemon. It's just battles and nothing but battles. And while, sure, it would still be a lot to program data and animations for 1,025 different Pokemon, they've already got 3D models for every Pokemon, because all 1,025 plus their various forms are supported in Pokemon Home. The general assumption is that over time, more Pokemon and items will be added via updates, and I think that's pretty likely, but it's still a severely hamstringed experience at launch. There are also a lot of bugs. Most of these are minor, but even just from what I personally have experienced, there were some major issues moving Pokemon from Home to Champions at launch, although fortunately those bugs have been fixed. There are issues with missions not refreshing like they're supposed to when the date changes, and weirdly, the game starts at 1080p on Switch 2 when docked. In order for the game to run at 4K like it's supposed to on Switch 2 when it's docked, you have to start the game docked, take the console out of the dock, and put the console back into the dock. Due to some weird, as-of-yet unresolved programming issue, the game won't render in 4K unless you take it out of the dock and put it back in while it's running. In addition to those issues, the game just generally looks pretty bad outside of battles. Thankfully, the battles look pretty fantastic for the most part, and that's what matters most. But the menus look bad, and the cutscenes look downright awful. I'm usually the last person to harp on graphics, but after playing Cyberpunk 2077, Resident Evil Requiem, and Metroid Prime 4 on Switch 2, there's just no excuse for the degree of JPEG-looking pixelation, blur, and aliasing that we see. It would look more at home on the original Switch, but even then, the shockingly low-quality images for menu icons is striking. And yes, I know the game is technically a Switch game that's running through backwards compatibility, but they said it was updated to take advantage of the Switch 2 hardware, so you get what I'm saying here. Pokemon Champions, in the state that it's currently in the middle of April 2026, feels like it falls somewhere between being a really impressive demo and a lackluster final product. And that's not great, considering that no released game should feel like a demo. That said, it is completely free to play, with the only paid elements being 100% optional and unnecessary to enjoy the game fully. Ignore all of the drama queen pearl clutchers who are on YouTube screaming about greed and consumer exploitation because Game Freak had the audacity to ask you to pay a few dollars for some extra in-game currency that you can easily get for free. They're making a mountain out of a molehill. Now, what the game primarily sets out to do, it does right, and that's faster-paced and more exciting Pokemon battles. It does give you the opportunity to reconnect and rejoin your game if you briefly lose connection, instead of just automatically forfeiting and penalizing you, and that is a really nice feature to add, and that's worth praising. The positives, unfortunately, are just overshadowed by the bugs, the mostly low-quality visuals and locked 30 FPS even on Switch 2, and the massive amount of Pokemon and held items that are mysteriously absent from the game, including some Pokemon that were shown in the trailer. To be clear, I am thoroughly enjoying Pokemon Champions, and it is absolutely 100% worth downloading and playing since it's free. But Game Freak is definitely not impressing anyone whatsoever with this meager effort, no matter how much fun what little content there is may be. My rating for Pokemon Champions on Switch, iOS, and Android is a C.